Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then hey, hi, my name is Kailin and welcome to a safe corner over here on the internet. I post videos mainly about eating disorder recovery, intuitive eating, self-care, self-love, all sorts of different things. And I was just taking my shower this morning and I felt inspired to make a video about bad body image days. So if you are currently struggling with loving your body or being kind to it, then I hope that you can sit down with me, maybe make a warm cup of tea or coffee, a little snack, and just sit back, and hopefully some of these tips can help you for when you are not feeling your best. So let's just jump on in with this video. The first thing that I want to tell you, especially if you're struggling today or if you do struggle quite often with bad body image days, is that this is a bad moment. You do not have a bad body. Okay? Life is full of ups and downs, and it's impossible to be positive and to feel positive about your body and about yourself 24/7. Toxic positivity is not so great, but being negative and cruel to your body is not the answer when you are feeling down, when you are feeling bad. And a lot of the time, I feel like we can use our bodies as scapegoats for something bigger that is going on in our life, whether we're stressed, whether we're worried, catastrophizing, afraid. Sometimes it feels easy to use our body as target practice and say, you are the problem, and if you were different or if I could change you, then I would feel better. But I promise you that a different body, shrinking yourself, changing yourself is not going to be the solution to happiness. If that was true, there would be a lot more happy people in this world. But the thoughts that you are having in your head are just thoughts. They're not facts. And just because you think something doesn't make it true. These feelings are temporary, and if you can go from one day of feeling neutral about your body or even positive, and then the next day you hate it, the way that you feel doesn't actually reflect real life changes. Instead, it shows fluctuations of your emotional state. And when these negative thoughts come up, try to approach them with curiosity versus judgment. So something that I like to ask myself on these days, which still happen, sort of like a basic check-in with myself. Am I hungry? Am I tired? Did I sleep well? Do I feel safe in my environment? And usually that checklist, something is up, whether I didn't sleep well. And unsafe can also mean that you're just feeling emotionally unwell. And your body has not shifted dramatically in the span of 24 hours. It's just your perspective that has. And even if your body has undergone physical changes, that doesn't mean that your body is bad. There is no such thing as a bad body. Something else I want us to focus on is what your body can do versus just focusing on what it looks like. And whether we focus on, wow, I am so appreciative of my eyes to be able to see the world. I'm looking outside my office right now and there is a flock of birds just going around in a little circle. Or to appreciate my mind because it can come up with creative scenarios because I love to write and read and imagine different universes. We can also just be appreciative of the fact that our body always wants to be our friend no matter what. We cut ourselves or nick ourselves on something and your body automatically tries to heal you. You get sick or have a virus and your body is trying to fend it off. There are so many functions that your body does for you to prove that it takes care of you and that it loves you. And it allows us to move through this world in various ways, regardless of how you feel about it, how you treat it, how you speak to it. And sometimes when we take that shift from a negative mindset to appreciation, it can really do a world of a difference. And I know that it doesn't always feel that way, but try it. Do it over and over and over again, and the more appreciative you are, usually the better that you feel. This is a more practical tip, but wear comfortable clothes. Okay, wear comfortable clothes. If you're walking around and you're wearing jeans and you're uncomfortable in your body, or if you're wearing pants that are too tight or too snug, that material against your body or that snugness is just constantly tugging at your mind and making you think even more about your body versus wearing something that is a lot more comfortable, a little bit loose perhaps, to where you can focus on other things and you're not constantly being reminded of your body because of the contact that your clothes and your body are having together. And this also goes for like underwear and undergarments and things like that. Wear your size. Wear your size because it's going to feel so much more comfortable. Another practical tip is to redirect yourself, because when we're having bad body image days, we are using so much of our energy to be cruel to ourselves. And the antithesis of cruelty or being unkind to ourselves is self-care and self-love. And we do not have to be dramatic with our self-care. As much as I would love that, we don't have to be. We don't have to tell ourselves that I love myself and I love my body. You can do those things, but they most likely are not going to feel real in that moment when you're struggling so much. And so self-care can be taking a shower like I did today. It can be painting your nails. It can be having a really good cry. It can be going outside on a mental health walk. It could be as simple as making yourself a cup of tea or coffee, and if you can, talking to somebody about it, or just talking to somebody as a distraction technique can also be really helpful. Now, this next tip is something that I want people to really, really take in. Limit your social media. There is so much comparison on social media, especially depending on what corners of the internet you are in. But most people, when you're having a very bad body image day and are also engaging in social media, it's a recipe to just feel worse and worse and worse about yourself. Especially if the accounts that you're engaging with reinforce the sort of body comparison and struggles that you are already dealing with. Try to focus on connection, and whether that is connection with yourself or connection with friends and real life people, video game characters, characters in books. Focus on different sorts of connection versus social media and using that as a form of comfort. And just a reminder, I am so pro block or pro mute. You do not owe anybody a follow. And if you are scrolling on your account and somebody makes you feel bad about yourself or about your body, unfollow them. Please, for the love of God, unfollow them, block them, mute them. Thank you. Something else that I think is important is to challenge what you personally believe this ideal body is. Sometimes when we are being really hard on ourselves, we have this idea of a specific standard that we are not meeting, and then that can make us feel dissatisfied. But think of people, real life people, your friends, your family, the people that you see on the street. How many people actually fit that societal beauty standard that you hold yourself to? Most likely none of them, or very, very few. And that's because usually we are comparing ourselves again to celebrities or to people online or Instagram, where people can use filters, Photoshop, editing software. It's wild out there. But please understand that nobody has these flat washboard abs, that people have fat on their body, that people have what we might call imperfections, and that it's not wrong, it's just being human. So try your best to challenge what this ideal is and be honest with yourself, because chasing a body is not going to make you happier or your body better. And like I mentioned before, sometimes we don't really want to focus on being positive, because that can come out like it can feel a little bit fake sometimes when you're not feeling up to it or when you're in such a negative headspace. We can always be neutral about our body, and practicing body neutrality is something that I encourage everybody to do. And what I mean personally by body neutrality is that you do not have to love your body in order to treat it right and to respect it. You can still show up for your body. You can still not treat it with cruelty or throw abusive words at it. It's okay sometimes to not like your body. That's okay. But what's not okay is to have your actions mirror those thoughts that are not even facts in the first place. Going back to that appreciation that I mentioned earlier in this video, list some things that you appreciate about yourself that are not body related at all. Because sometimes we just forget our strengths, or we forget to show up for ourselves with an appreciative lens. And so maybe you want to focus on your kindness, on your creativity, on your humor. Reflect on what the people in your life actually value within you as a person, because I promise you that that is not your body. And if it is, bye-bye to those people, because they should be out of our life, and they should have been out of our life a long time ago. Doing something that makes your body feel good can also just release some endorphins. And so that could even be like petting a dog, spending time with an animal, doing some light stretches, going on a walk. Do something kind for your body that again could release those sort of happy endorphins. Speaking of that like happy hormone, when you practice kindness for other people, it always feels so good. And so sometimes practicing an act of kindness, if you cannot do it for yourself, do it for somebody else. Bake some cookies and bring them to a friend. Give a compliment to a stranger. Write a sweet text to somebody that you appreciate. When we show kindness and appreciation for others, it feels good. So you got two options. You do it for yourself or you do it for somebody else, and I promise you're gonna feel just a little bit better. But you know what doesn't make us feel better? Okay, listen to me. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. Body checking. Stop body checking. In general, we should stop this, but especially when you're feeling shitty about yourself. If you stare at anything in the mirror for too long, or if you stare at anything for too long, it's gonna start looking funky, it's gonna start looking weird. Have you ever just looked at a word for too long and you don't know if you've spelled it the correct way, and then you get in your head and you're just not sure? You have been looking at that word for far too long. And you are so beautiful, you're so unique, you are so wonderful. When you stare at yourself in the mirror for minutes at a time, tens of minutes, an hour, you are never going to feel good and more confident about yourself. Avoid mirrors, avoid body checking tendencies, and if you cannot control them, take down your mirrors, cover them, put post-it notes with encouraging statements on your mirror, something like that to really help you. This is a little bit more of a long-term tip, but take inventory of the people around you. Because if there are people in your life making you feel bad about your body, we have to do something about that. The more that you are surrounded with positive, uplifting people, the better you're going to feel. So if you're with your friends and all that they're talking about is dieting and their bodies and becoming smaller and going to the gym, maybe we need to have some conversations with these friends if those friendships are truly valuable to you, or maybe we need to reassess the environment that we're in and if you want to be in that environment too. I know that affirmations sound a little bit cheesy, but I think that things can sometimes be cheesy for a reason. And that's because affirmations do work. Regardless of if you fully believe them right now, eventually we believe what we repeat. And so if you're always repeating to yourself how ugly you are, you're going to believe that. But if you start repeating different things to yourself, even if you don't feel them right now, for example, my worth is not based on my appearance, you are going to start feeling so much better. And one day, as you keep repeating those affirmations, when you're gonna say it, you're actually going to believe it. And it's okay if you don't believe it right now, but the first part of believing anything in life is repeating it over and over and over again and showing up for yourself in that way. If you are somebody who does struggle with giving yourself empathy, try your best to treat yourself like you would treat a friend. What would you say to that friend? What would you advise them to do? And try to take your own advice. Another tip is to please take care of yourself on these days. If you are not nourishing yourself, I promise you that you're gonna feel so much worse than you already do, because a malnourished mind is not gonna think straight, and it's going to be more susceptible to negativity, to criticism, to being unkind to yourself. We do not deserve to punish ourselves or punish our bodies because of the thoughts that we are having, or because we think that it doesn't fit a specific mold or look or type. Our time on this earth is so precious, and none of us are here on this earth to be thin, to be small, to fit in a specific body. We are so much more than our bodies, and your body is the least interesting thing about you. The least interesting thing about you. Imagine if I sit you down and I say, hey, I have a friend that you're gonna love. She has blonde hair and freckles and glasses. That tells me nothing about this person. That doesn't tell me about their interests, about their heart, about their passions. And I would sit there on the other side and be like, okay, and what? And does this person love reading? Does this person like movies and culture? What is actually interesting about this person? Because their physical characteristics does not tell us that much. And this is just a reminder that I think is helpful for everybody to hear now and then. But your self-worth and who you are as a person and your value is not measured by your size or shape. Nobody's value and worth is based off of their body, but how we show up in this world, how we treat other people. We are defined by so many other things, but your body is just not one of them. When you are feeling really distressed though, one thing that I will say is distract yourself. Watch a comfort show, get outside, talk to a friend, play a video game, play a game on your phone, watch YouTube videos, do something to distract yourself from these thoughts if they are feeling too intense. Because what we want to do with this is create space between the thought, just have our brain focus on something else so that those thoughts can kind of dissipate and go more towards the background. So focus on a hobby, something that you love, listening to music. Give yourself a positive distraction. And the last thing that I want to remind you of, / give you a little bit of a tip, is to please let go of the idea that there is a perfect body. There is no such thing as a perfect body, and there's also no such thing as never ever having 0 bad body image days ever in your entire life for the rest of your life. But I promise you that those thoughts that you have in your head about changing yourself, or about if this was different, if I had more of this or less of this, that does not solve the deeper issue that is going on. that does not solve the pain that you're feeling inside over here. Bodies are meant to change. Bodies are meant to fluctuate. Bodies are meant to be imperfect because perfect doesn't exist. If everybody's definition of what makes a good body is so different, then that just proves that there is no definition of a good body in the first place. I promise you that the thoughts that you are having, other people do not have those same thoughts about you. We are our own main characters in our own stories, and we are way more self-absorbed than we like to give credit for, if that makes sense. So if you're walking in a store and somebody's looking at you and then you think that they're criticizing your body, they're probably just zoned out or thinking about themselves or not even looking at you. Let go of the idea that you have to be perfect, because again, that does not exist. But take a big deep breath, okay? And if you're struggling with loving yourself, giving yourself a little bit of care, a little bit of extra love today, I hope that this video can provide you with a little bit of comfort, a little bit of direction. If there are any other video requests that you have like this, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Just remember how wonderful you are, how amazing you are, and know that there are so many people out there that love and care for you, the person that you are, not the vessel in which we experience this world in. Thank you so much for watching. This is your reminder to do something kind for yourself, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye, friends.